Oh, hello. Welcome to the studio. Miles here with the band EMEFE. Glad you're joining us today. Come on in, won't you? Today, we have an episode of EMEFE.ptx, a video podcast series where we open up our Pro Tools sessions and talk about our process. This episode is about our song, Be Nice. We hope you enjoy. Jackie is going to join us at some point
to
talk about the trumpet solo.
Sweet.
All right, should we do it?
Let's do it. Yeah, let's freaking do it.
Let's talk about Be Nice.
Be nice.
Hi, Jake.
Hi, Miles.
We got some good shirts on. We got our mics. We're ready to pod.
Yeah, exactly. No pod starts without a good shirt. That's what I always say.
Yes, the famously oral medium.
Yeah.
That now is somehow also a video medium, and mainly a video medium.
Yeah, exactly.
I was excited to talk to you about this song specifically because to me, this song, there was, there's a lot going on in the song, but it really didn't happen until you added your parts to it, I feel. And it just, we have a lot of history. We've been playing together for a long time, and I felt like this song was an opportunity to reach back into our history and and sort of bring it into the now.
In that part of the subject, I definitely felt like this one reminded me of. I approached it kind of similarly to, I think, how I looked at Do Your Dance, which was like one of the first songs we ever did. So I felt that too, for sure. I was like, yeah, wanted to, and playing the same instrument, which is right here. Same wurly I've had since I was, I don't know, 15, probably 10 to 20 years ago, depending on how you look at it.
Want to feel old?
No, but I think I got it in 2005 from some random guy in Orlando. And it went all around the country with us, with the EMEFE, and it's been, I guess that's the only time it really traveled other than driving between New York and LA. But yeah, it's my baby, and definitely this track, I was like, that's the vibe. It needs just warm. I don't know. Can we listen to it?
Yeah.
to remind me of what I played.
Let's just get right into the wurly. Where are you? I have to find it. Okay, here we go. Here's Wurly World.
Nice.
It's nice. I like the wurly mix.
Yeah. So the warble, that's me, or is that you?
The warble, probably me. As you can see, I did the very sort of engineer trained version of like editing this, which is instead of like creating buses, effects bus to send this to the bus at a certain time so that the echo happens here. I just would like create a new track and put all the different plugins on each track, pan them differently, and then just like weave in and out of each track. Um, yeah,
Right,
so
yeah,
that's
that's
why it
crazy.
looks all crazy here.
That's all crazy, yeah. Um, well, I don't know. I feel like the warble maybe was me, which was gonna lead me to.
Could have
I'm
been.
pretty sure it's this pedal. I mean, it's not a pedal. It's a. I'll move the camera for 1 second.
Well, we should say that
Oh,
that
we're gonna
you
save.
recorded this you recorded this remotely
Yeah, yeah,
and sent in the files because I remember it wasn't easy at first for you
yeah. I was
to
definitely gonna
track
talk
to.
about that. Yeah,
Okay.
this was so hard. It was incredibly difficult. Yeah, I spent a lot of time. I spent a lot of time just figuring out what to play on this and how to play it because it is definitely in line with the world of MFA songs that where the time is just if you don't think about it, it's great, and if you start thinking about it, you're like, "What the hell? Where is the downbeat? What is going on?"
Hmm.
And this one is like that for sure. And yeah, and I knew that like I needed to kind of herald the melody in and create a while also just like creating a vibe and there's always this idea of like well like it should have like a keyboard solo at the top, but that's always kind of like a weird thing because it's I mean a lot of people would just play a solo, but I've always been like it can't just be a solo, like it needs to. I never want to be like overpowering, like, oh, look at me, I'm playing a keyboard solo now. Um,
Hmm.
so it was just like trying to find this balance of like, well, I am the feature of the beginning, but I don't want to take away from all the cool, just rhythmic stuff that's happening. So try to kind of fit in there and like play around with the melody, which you hear me do like a couple times there, like especially at the very end. It's like, well, let me definitely hit the melody at the
Hmm.
end to kind of be like, here we go. Um, but yeah, it was definitely a challenge to. There's that feeling sometimes when you're recording, especially as a keyboard player, like when I am asked to do stuff like this. A lot of like, can you just like play something? And like when a
That's an
track,
accurate depiction of my tone.
that's well, yeah,
Can
it's
you just
everyone's stuff.
play something?
That's pretty much everyone. That's how people talk to keyboard players. Can you just do something at the top there? Um, but this song like already sounded so cool that there's this thing of like you play a single note and you're like, no, 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 I kind of fucked it up. Really easy to fuck up something when it's a lot easier to just play something on like a lame track because it's like everything you play, you're like, oh yeah, that's making it way better. But when like honestly, like it's kind of like that. But when you get something that like is already so great and like has so many interesting things happening, it was just really a challenge to like make sure I just played just enough to like give it some vibe without taking away. Like
Yeah.
basically any like normal melody would have just ruined it. Like it just didn't. It already had way too many. It already had this like interlocking and melodic thing happening that it didn't really need a melody. It needed this.
Gestures.
I needed this.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
You ever heard of this?
Yeah. No, that's we learned that in music school.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I think also like it's a tough ask because the process is kind of lopsided where we this song we have when we were recording it, it was coming to be as it was being recorded. We had never played it live together. Um, we never played it together as a band, period. And
Right.
even in how this song came to be, it was like I made a demo of it, and then Doug and Hav came in, and this was very early in like the process of like I think we were making an album, and like I remember it being this sort of experiment of like, I think I had the demo or I had like some framework and we were like, let's just try playing along with the demo and recording it as we're playing. And we
Right.
did that and it was like we actually like did like two really good takes and it was sort of one of the earliest indicators that um, like this sort of way of creating an MFA song it's possible to make it feel organic, make it feel like it's a song that we are playing in the room and also a song that we know well, that we have in our bones, like we used to like 10 years ago when we would play a song to death before we would record it. And so by the time you record it, you're used to like the all where the emphasis falls and you know.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah,
So
totally.
this is a particularly weird one because like there's like the pulse, but the chords change. First of all, there are chords, period, which is kind of an
Yeah,
aberration.
yeah.
But then
Yeah, true.
also the chords change on every beat four. Um, so it
Right.
kind of was like this exercise in like, okay, not only are you moving from chord to chord, but you're landing in a place that you're is kind of off kilter and unless you've played it enough and you're like, this is just how it goes. But you didn't have
Yeah,
that
yeah.
when you were recording this.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. So, yeah, I mean, I couldn't I remember recording it being a combination of like knowing that and trying to play off that and just like not worrying about anything. Like, what's it sound like if I pretend that that's the downbeat for this section? Like, what do I do there?
Mhm.
No, I don't know. I think by the I can't remember exactly where my what my headspace was in, but it's a bunch of different ideas, and yeah, I mean,
I think I
it's
think
hard to describe how the brain works.
yeah. I think now would be a good time like if you have that. Do you still have that video of when you tracked Do Your Dance?
Yeah,
Okay.
somewhere. Yeah,
Well, I think we should find
play
that,
that
send it to Rogers, our editor, and Rogers should drop that right here.
now.
Okay, so we just saw a clip of that, but that's sort of like
Wow, and
and
wow, oh my
wow.
god, I just sounded so good. Holy shit! No, no, yeah, that was it. That was the moment.
That was 2011.
Junior Mance, as we used to call it.
Yeah.
2011.
It came out, or maybe it was 2012 because it came out in July of 2012, so it was probably early 2012.
It's crazy, yeah.
But that's like that's the
That was
beginning.
it. That was the beginning, yeah. That was
Yeah.
it.
And
Hopefully I can actually find it.
yeah. And before you mentioned you might have been using a pedal.
Well, yeah, that's what I'm pretty sure that sound is this sound that I've been fucking with a lot recently, which is this Ibanez analog delay. I guess I shouldn't talk about it. It's going to go up in price, but I already got one, so. But
Because
it's
of this
the
podcast.
as of this podcast, I already bought one.
Maybe Ibanez could sponsor
Oh,
us.
yeah, maybe. Anyway, it's a really, really cool analog
We use
multi-mode.
all Ibanez gear now. Like,
Yeah, we're full on Ibanez. It's a it's a full on it's just this really cool analog delay, and I'm pretty sure it's the sound. You know, I could also just.
whoa,
All right, you heard that.
I heard that.
You heard that, all right.
So what do you want to show on this?
I was just trying to show the this. I'm pretty sure that this sound is this on this pedal. Me doing a little. It's a little distorted.
Yes.
But basically, that's I'm pretty sure that's what this one. That's what that like warble is happening on, which is like this cool pedal that has a great modulation on it. Can you turn the knob? It's probably a little distorted for some reason, but anyway, that's the
That's
sound.
it. Yeah,
That's
that's the
that's the
sound.
sound.
That's the sound.
No,
You heard
but it
that
is
sound coming out of Jake Pinto of EMEFE?
the
You
thing.
heard that sound?
The thing is, like, actually though, this wurly just always sounds so amazing. I don't know why
Yeah.
it's all distorted, but like I've played many a wurly and not. That's the sound. It's the sound of.
But
Anyway,
were you using that for Do Your
no, no,
Dance? No,
no,
you didn't
no, no,
have
no, no. Dude, dance.
technology wasn't
Well,
there
I mean
back then.
that technology. No, it wasn't even close. I mean, we're talking 2012. I mean, what do we have? Like a iPhone 1?
Oh,
Oh no, but actually, in all seriousness,
and it is serious.
um, uh, I did. I've never really been a pedals guy, and I
Mm.
remember like literally back then, it was just we were just raw dogging it, like whirly direct,
Yeah.
and the yeah, and live. I don't know. I was always like, it sounds sick. I love it. I love the way this thing sounds. I never felt like I needed to put a lot of stuff on it. And I was maybe a little misguided, maybe a little young man misguided, but
Yeah.
um,
I think it's worth shouting out Dan Knobler
yeah,
because we a lot of for me making this record, I found myself channeling certain sounds or like just I was like, I know what it should sound like. And that's me now, but back then we were just playing direct, like metaphorically, and Dan
yeah, yeah,
really like helped shape our sound on like a production level that
yeah,
then we
definitely.
kind of took forward and it was like this is how the whirly should sound. So
Yeah,
shout out Dan Nobler.
for sure. But overall, yeah, it's just like the early sound was very that whole the Do Your Dance record, the Good Future record. There's a lot of just like not heavily processed stuff, and I know that's where Dan was also coming from back then. Like he really wanted to capture the what we sounded like live, and that is what we sounded like live. Because also live, I didn't use any pedals,
Yeah.
not even like a reverb pedal, and guitars were all. Everybody was just going straight into the amps or direct, and
Yeah, I didn't put my drums through any pedals back then.
no drum pedals. No loops, all live, no
Mm.
backing tracks. You kids out there, crazy, right?
I just want to quickly highlight here on the sort of production level. As you can see, we have a lot of different whirlies, but um, the the plugins are nothing crazy. But I sort of decided to have like one, just more utilize panning, where like there's one whirly that is the main soloist whirly, which is panned, and it's panned a little to the right, sort of as if like that's where you're positioned in the room, and also
Mhm.
it's EQ'd a little harsher. I have a little more. I have this guy on there, um, and then the other whirlies around it are kind of meant to swirl around it. So just adding
Yeah.
echo in just these random little places. And that every other track is pretty much like fully stereo. So it's kind of like this effect where even though the main soloistic wurly is like right here, uh, every once in a while it gets thrown to like super stereo watery land.
Right, right, right.
And including this plugin down here that I can't show you at the moment. But oh, I wonder if I.
Is it like super secret?
No, no, no. The track was just. Oh yeah, not going to share my secrets, which
Yeah.
is why we're starting a video podcast.
You signed an NDA on that
Yeah.
pedal. It's that pedal company.
It's this cassette transport plugin that
Ah.
you know, every once in a while you'll see it here come in.
Oh, that's cool.
And so with that, it's basically just I reversed your whirly, and then at a certain point you click the stop button, and that's what creates the
Yeah, it warps it.
warps it. And as you
It
can
gives it
see,
a warp.
it gives it a little warp.
It's called warping it.
And throughout the song, I use that just as little like accents. Um,
Oh yeah.
yeah.
That's your industry standard warp.
Okay. So we've we've covered the whirlies.
We have.
Okay. Um, I just want to play. I happen to have the original demo in the session, and I wanted to just play the original demo to show kind of where this where it starts in the process. So, and I'm gonna just fast forward to when the horns come in. So that's me in my apartment in like March 2020 or April or May even, early peak COVID lockdown.
Hmm.
And I think it helped. There was something about that headspace that brought me back to when I was a freshman in my dorm writing MFA songs. Um,
Mm.
Not to compare being a freshman in college to being in a pandemic, but there were some links in terms
Sure.
of the headspace. But yeah, I would just had my this like kids keyboard thing. Actually, I'm just gonna grab it. These guys.
Oh yeah. Was that a Yamaha?
It's a System 5 Plus Bontempi.
Oh, was that a Bon Tempe?
It's a Bontempi. Hey.
Hey.
And then also this a Casio. We've all heard of Casio.
We love
But
those.
these things are the horn section and often like the early ideas for keys in MFA songs. And I just sort of had like I had that. I had my interface, just playing guitar, playing bass into the interface, and just doing like programmed drums. But this is how the song was written, and it was like one of those things where I heard it, I could like feel it. It's a song that we're all playing together, but like I was sort of manifesting it at that point, and it was just a matter of making it work, like bringing it to life and making it feel alive with a band. But this is where it starts.
Yeah.
Um,
That's the way. That was the way.
That was the way.
In the great tradition.
Um, this song is based around a rhythmic concept that I've had rattling around for a while, and it's a this it's based around a feel where half the bar is one feel and then the other half is another feel. So in the course of one, two, three, four, it goes between triplet to straight eighth notes. So the feel being
Oh yeah, yeah, right. I mean that, yeah. I mean that's
um
probably what we should have talked about at the beginning because I did forget that that is how you explained it to me. That definitely that was probably the primary. That was probably what was primarily going through my head when I recorded it.
yeah.
That makes more sense. I
And
was
you're
like couldn't really remember like how I did, but like, that's definitely what I was doing. Was I was just trying to internalize that kind of feel, and everything's kind of based on that. I think everything
yeah.
I'm playing is based on that more than whatever we were talking about before, which is basically nothing.
Yes. It's
Now we're
just
talking
a
about
bunch of
something.
BS.
Well, now we're talking about
No.
something. Before it was
Yeah.
nothing. Now this is something.
Yeah.
Right.
But
So
yeah,
it goes.
similarly to like the Fela songs and therefore all the people that have come after Fela, like it's this songwriting style where like there's a clave rhythm that all the instruments are uh all the parts are based around either a 3-2 clave or a 2-3 clave, but there's nobody actually playing a clave. Um, and so it's sort of a way of for such a big band, uh, it's sort of a math for that all of them agree upon, so that even though it's like, yeah, there's all these parts happening, there is a rhythmic agreement that almost everything is in line with or not in line with, and that's like a choice. Um, so in this case, I'm just going to play the drums because the drums are like the role of the drums is basically just to keep the metronome, um, and then the guitars and the bass really emphasize the weird rhythmic pattern. So here's the drums. And then I'm going to add in the guitars here. Here's the left guitar. Then adding the right. The bass. And then the congas as well. So you have the I just want to quickly highlight here, also involved in the like building of this song with all the steps that I just played. We had Giancarlo come in and play Shekere live, which is always best. And mayteana Morales played percussion. And she had like a setup where she had like a bunch of things on a table, and this I remember it also like took a while to get like the whole rhythmic DNA of it. Um, but I just want to play the two of their parts as well because it ended up playing a big role in the mix. Where is mayteana? Too many tracks. Oh, this must be it. Yes.
Whoa, cool.
And she basically did GC is up here playing the Shekere, but mayteana did a bunch of different takes of like soloistic playing. And I just chose the moments there. And then at certain parts, I really beefed up the what she was doing. So this is in the bridge. So just for context, I'm going to play everything else. And that's like utilizing this very like simple plugin that just makes it stereo. And I remember when we were mixing, there was like we had to figure out just how loud this should be in this section because I really like, we all know, I love a strong quarter note.
Gotta love
And
it.
yeah, this was, whoa. Okay. Oh my God, it's
Why
gone
is that
rogue.
doing that? Yeah.
All right, well, that's actually a great transition. That
Yeah.
is this the Memory Man. This is like where the psychedelic element of the song comes in, and it has a lot to do with the trumpet solo. Basically, this track here, there's a lot going on. So this is what the trumpet solo is feeding through, and at that point, in the song, it just
Oh,
goes
that's what
crazy.
that.
So
Yeah,
this is
yeah,
the
yeah.
point that we're talking
Right,
about.
right.
Jake, do you remember, or can you guess what past MFA song we were drawing on inspiration on for this particular section?
Oh, I thought you were gonna ask me if I remember the chords.
Jake, do you remember the chords?
That would be a gotcha for sure. That'd be
Yeah.
a real gotcha question. Can you write out the chords for me right now? Um, do I remember what that's referencing? Uh, hmm.
Spacey section, smack in the middle of a
I
song.
mean, I guess summer, right?
Ding, 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 ding,
Is that
ding.
right? Yeah.
Yeah. Um,
Yeah,
this was the
that was
part
a
of the
big.
song that we like. I was like, okay, I feel, and I think you might have suggested this, but we went through a
Oh yeah, I did. Yeah.
few different versions of how like this song was originally longer, and it was kind of like how do we get from point A to point B, and this was
Yeah, I remember. I
the path
remember
we chose.
suggesting it because I was. There was just something about like I can't. I don't really remember what happened. What was happening after the trumpet solo before, or was it even a different arrangement or something? I don't remember. But I remember
Originally,
being like,
there was it would go to another solo, but then we cut that, and it kind of just
right,
cut right from Jackie's high note into the big section. It's like
yeah,
kind of like
yeah,
wham bam.
that's yeah. I remember feeling like whatever it was. I remember feeling like something needed to happen, and that thing happened eventually after whatever happened here.
Hey, well put.
Yeah, exactly.
This is actually great timing. Jackie has just entered the
Oh
Zoom.
my God, we got Jackie on the line. Jackie's here.
Hey!
Howdy. Heather's practicing like tuba in the background. I don't know if that's
Okay.
gonna. You're just buzzing the mouthpiece right now, but there's gonna be like some tuba happening.
Okay. Cool.
It's cool.
Yeah.
It'll add sort of a psychedelic element
Yeah.
to the Zoom. We were just talking about, we're about to talk about the trumpet solo,
Okay.
but maybe before we get into that, I do want to like touch on how you like first linked with MFA because I think it's a good story.
Okay.
Because you were like really early and then years have gone by, lifetimes have gone by, and now
Yeah.
you're here playing with us. Um, but yeah, could you just like give us a snapshot of like 2009 uh, emailing with me about the band MFA? Why were we emailing?
Okay. So you want the probably how I met you introduction.
Yes.
So had graduated NYU, needed a job. And so that job was doing sound for Tatuma Social Club.
Hmm.
And so my job was to book bands. And so basically, going through all the emails, and you came in there, like, and I was like, yeah, let's give this band a shot. Um,
It
I
was the
think I
Battle of the
don't
Bands, right?
was it? I don't
Oh,
I don't even know. It could have been
I
something
think
like
it
that.
was. I
Okay.
think we were battling.
Did you win? I don't even remember that.
Oh
I
Yeah,
feel
you
like
yeah.
it
had to
was
have
like,
won.
first of all, it's hilarious that you were like, I needed a job, so I got a job doing sound,
Yeah.
and then I was booking bands. That's a
Well,
different job.
actually, it was I think booking bands, and then they're like, it's a low budget like such club starting out, so they're like, can you also do this? And I was like, can I?
Yeah,
I don't know, maybe.
it's
So
iconic. That's iconic New York
yeah,
club behavior. Be like,
exactly.
we need a sound person. Can they also book bands?
Yeah, yeah. And I learned a lot about doing sound too, so it's kind of cool.
Yeah.
But then yeah, you showed up with your band, your massive band on that tiny stage. And
Yeah.
oh, do you hear the tuba? It's pretty
Yes.
Oh yeah, that is
much.
crazy.
Sorry, that's gonna be a part of this.
All
Um
right, that's cool. Hey, we're musicians. This
this
is
is
what
New York
happens.
lifestyle right here.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then
That's
I
the teaser.
was I was like, whoa, the drummer's in the front and like everyone's behind him. Whoa, that's cool. And you guys killed it. You sound amazing. I mean, the band, every time I've heard it, has sounded amazing. So that was the first MFA introduction.
There we go. Well,
Yeah.
somebody had to book us first,
Yeah.
and you were that person. And I remember we I think we played a Battle of the Bands. We won. We went to the next round or whatever it was, and then I think we won that too. Um,
Yeah.
and then we got our own night there, and
Oh, that sounds about right. What was going
yeah,
on back then.
yeah.
Yeah.
So
I don't really
yeah.
remember the battle part either. I remember it being called Battle of the Bands, but
Yeah.
was there a loser?
Everyone but y'all.
There were a
I
few
don't
losers.
I don't
Yeah.
really remember. I guess
I don't
no
even
one
know
remembers the losers, huh?
exactly. I don't know who.
I mean, look at us now. We're doing a video
Yeah,
podcast. I think
yeah,
it's
Yeah.
clear who won.
Yeah.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, we definitely won. Yeah.
Exactly.
Now, Jackie, all right. Now we're in the present day.
Yeah.
You're playing this. You came in to record the horns on this song, uh, and I'm not sure if how much I prepared you if I told you you would be soloing. But
Hmm.
I, if it's cool with you, I'm gonna just play the solo or a
Okay.
part of the solo because as you can see, there's all this business that happened after you actually tracked the solo,
Okay.
and
Yeah.
that that added something to it too. So here we go.
Okay.
gonna get crazier.
Yeah. Never knew I mean, like there is effects on it, but I didn't know the wavelengthiness of it.
Yeah. And then
Yeah.
at the very end, like what you play launches into this next section, and I'm gonna just play the very end of it here.
Okay. Yeah. The echo. Yeah, when a wind down. All right.
Yeah.
I didn't know all that was happening because it's like so intense after that.
Yeah. Do you remember playing this solo?
Yeah.
I
There's like what, three different takes or something.
I think so.
And
Yeah.
I'm never satisfied with any solo I've done ever. So I was like, yeah, I guess it's okay. Like, I don't know. Um,
Do you
I
you
guess
so you would have just kept trying?
I mean, yeah, I mean, when I do self like home recording stuff, I think I drive myself crazy until I get it right, like or like acceptable of like what I'd want. But I mean, like it's fine, like everything's fine. But sometimes being at home in control of your own session, you can go crazy, and someone should stop you. So
I mean,
I'm
that's
glad that you
basically
were
what I
there to stop me.
yeah.
Yeah,
Well, yeah, that going crazy is exactly it's like that's what I'm doing. In this case, that's my job
yeah,
because you but I feel I definitely was like I bet Jackie would like doing three takes, that's like nothing.
right.
Um
Yeah.
so I appreciate that you were just I mean you played great solo, so it wasn't like you were struggling, but I feel like of all songs to take a solo on, like we talked about earlier, Jake, like this one is there's an angularity,
Yeah.
Yeah.
angleness, um,
Huh.
that like I think and the rhythmic stuff going on and there's chords and but the chord isn't really like it's like all suspension weird stuff and
Yeah.
so I think it didn't help that this song was a little bit obtuse to solo on.
Such the intro, like coming in to the beginning of the solo, like a lot of these songs you don't know where one is, and I feel like the way this one enters, I'm like I there's like a when you're playing it you're like one is here, but when the rhythm section comes in you're like oh no, one is here.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which is cool
Yeah.
too.
Everybody's saying it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think
Well,
I had to ask you for like the actual chords because I'm like I couldn't figure them out. But then once you told me what they were, I was like, oh yes, it makes more sense.
yeah. Yeah. I remember, yeah, when you asked me, I think you had done a take or two, or maybe
Yeah.
one take, and I was like, should I tell you what the chords are? And I
Yeah.
think you were
I was like,
like,
oh wow, that would help.
yeah. And I was like,
Yeah.
yeah, right. That's something that someone would like to
People
know.
like that. Yeah,
Yeah.
people like the chords.
Yeah. Like to know what's happening.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, well, okay. And then since you're here, Jackie, I also want to just play some of this horn section stuff.
Yeah.
Because this following section after the trumpet solo is one of my favorite horn
Oh yeah.
moments on this whole album. There's a lot of horns here. I got to make
Yeah.
sure I don't miss any of them.
It's like a
Um,
big band there.
yeah, we got Ani on trombone, we got Lynn on bari, Jazz on tenor. My God, there's more horns down here. Okay, I think this is it. Let's see how this sounds.
Yeah.
Yeah. Ah.
Yeah. Don't remember that. Yeah, it's
So
epic.
very epic. So the rundown of those horns, we have the main horn section that was you, Jackie, Lynn, and Jazz playing together, which and that was soloed. Sorry. And then Ani came in and put in the trombones.
Haha.
That's sick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that is, they're all going through again the decapitator, and we got the sketch
Mm.
cassette that's adding this warble, and
Ah.
then got pitched down with the drive all the way up here,
Mm.
and then all the low end scooped out. So
Nice.
that's somehow in there. And then there's the stereo berries, which is something
Oh.
I love dearly. And those are
Yeah.
doubling the bass in this moment. Let me play those together. Which is also a thing that EMEFE song has happened in an EMEFE song since we were all babies.
Oh,
Yeah, it's iconic. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a nice sound. Nice and thick bottom.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's one last thing maybe. And that is this bass solo at the end of the song.
Oh, yeah.
In making this song, I was like, we've never had a bass solo on an MFA song. And it just felt at first when I wrote it, I wrote the song to end with a drum solo, and I was just going crazy. And then when Doug came in and we were tracking it, he just instinctively started going crazy at the end as well. And
Nice.
it was just like, that's what it should be.
Exactly. You gotta
Like
use
that.
Doug.
If
Doug's
you
powers.
have a Doug, you must use
Must
your
use
Doug.
use
all
them.
of his powers. Yeah.
So I'm gonna play his little bass solo at the very end of this, which, as you can see, is just
Yeah.
one take here.
Oh, yeah.
I'm gonna put in my drums.
Okay. Yeah. Metal turns into avant-garde.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
that ending was like, I think we did this twice, and I just told Doug, like, at the very end, I'm just gonna look at you. And so we were like, and I was like, and he caught it as
Yeah.
I knew he would. And
Yeah.
the rest was history.
Yeah. I mean, you guys have played together forever, so you probably like can read each other's mind.
Definitely,
Basically.
definitely.
Yeah.
And in other ways.
Yeah.
In terms of when there's
What other way?
like I can sort of tell what what state of mind he's in about the Knicks,
Oh,
but
Oh,
oh yeah, yeah.
yeah,
The whole
yeah.
world can now that he's posting
Yeah, I know.
it.
It's crazy.
I don't know how he has time to do all that, but it's killing.
if he's in I've become Jake, me, you've probably had a little of this too, but like being accustomed to him watching like a game on his phone during a rehearsal,
Mm,
Yeah.
and
yeah.
you can really sort of tell
Oh,
like
If the
what's
game's going, yeah,
happening.
you don't need to watch the game. You can just watch him,
like if
watch
they
his
scored or
expression.
yeah, they're losing. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I
Um,
feel, Jake, did you do I feel like we did it.
yeah, I think we did it. What more
All
can we
right.
do?
That's be
Right.
nice.
We should do call-ins at some point.
Oh boy.
We got a caller on
Yeah.
the line.
Yeah, hello. What was the plug-in on the high tom track?
Oh man. What kind of
Yeah,
compressor did you use for
exactly. I'd love that. I'd love that.
Yeah, let's set it up.
All right, we'll plant some calls for next time.
There you
Yeah.
go.
I have an unrelated on an unrelated note.
All right, well,
Did
before
either-
unrelated note,
All right.
Oh.
let's say bye to everybody who
Uh-huh.
might
Gotta
be
say
watching.
bye.
Goodbye.
Goodbye,
Bye-bye.
everybody.
You can't hear the
Goodbye.
unrelated note.
Here's an unrelated note. I mean, it could be good. Did either of you guys see Sinners yet?